Meeting to order.
Look different. Oh.
Welcome, everybody. Hope you all got to see the great news yesterday. Yay, 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 by the way. Okay, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Jonathan Barfield.
And Luke Waddell, right, as well?
I wasn't sure he was gonna be
Is
absent.
Luke coming?
I haven't heard from you.
Okay.
Leave me alone.
Oh, well,
Excuse both till
Excuse him
Luke shows
until he
up.
walks in and.
yeah, Jonathan and Luke,
Okay.
expand that.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. And we need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Minutes, Dr. Cannon?
Yes, the minutes from our last meeting are included in your packet. If there are no questions or comments, we'll take a motion to.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, minutes pass. Public comments, I believe we have one speaker.
Yes, ma'am, we did. Mr. Sorensen will come up and we'll
And you have 4 minutes, Mr. Sorensen, if you'll state your name and address, please, as well.
Morning.
Is this on?
Yes, sir.
I have a little trouble because I'm almost deaf. Thank you for the opportunity to visit with you folks this morning. I just wanted to talk about a policy that I think is, for a consumer, makes no sense. My name's Dave Sorensen, and I've lived in Wilmington for 21 years, and I've been a customer for that long. On September 6th, went out of town and came back, and my yard was flooded from a broken valve on my water line. Of course, I called a plumber and had it fixed immediately. I came down to the Cape Fear people across the street and wanted an adjustment on my bill, and they agreed that I deserved one, and then said it would take 4 to 8 weeks to figure it out. I asked them how they did that, and they said, well, they averaged the usage. That seemed fair to me. But what I wonder is why it takes 4 to 8 weeks to add up a few months of usage and then divide it by the number of months so that they could adjust the bill on the spot. Instead, they said I had to pay the current bill, which was double, more than double, which I went ahead and paid. And then they said, of course, I had to pay the plumber, so I get hit twice for a problem that I didn't create. The valve broke, and that's all. I just think that the policy should be that the people at customer service can adjust a bill based upon the correct information. That's all I ask for. If they can't do simple division, why does it take a supervisor to look at that? All they'd have to do is look at the past usage and divide it, but they won't do that. Just, they said it was policy, so I wanted you folks to take another look at the policy, that's all. Again, I thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to come here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Any questions on that? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to new business with administrative reports, attorney's report.
I don't have a report, but I do need to go into closed session to discuss CFPUA versus Comoras and DEQ.
Okay. Executive director's report.
We have in the agenda our 4 reports: key indicators, safety, environmental, and strategic plan. Staff stands ready to answer any questions.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, thanks. In the key indicator reports, page 106, regulatory compliance report, it appears that it's down. This deals, of course, with our restaurants, the FSE inspections. That it's the number of inspections is down by about 22%. And I don't know if that is a reflection of labor on our part, or the restaurant closures, or what. Just looking for a little clarification.
Ms. Beth Eckert will
Definitely.
come forward, sorry.
You're good, you're good. Saw she was already up.
So all the way over here to tell you that we are down a compliance officer. We just hired one. And we've been down a compliance officer for several months now, so. But also at the beginning of the year, we'll sometimes shift our priorities a little bit because we have the entire year to kind of make some of that up. But we are down a staff member right now. So
And we now have a new one.
we now have a new one that we hired 2 weeks ago,
Great,
so yeah.
thank you. Madam Chair, I have questions on the environmental report and strategic plan update as well, but I don't know if this is the appropriate time to bring them up or not.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On page 125, the Southside wastewater treatment plant, this is just I appreciate your patience on this. Again, me trying to understand the data that's being given to us, in these reports. It has to do with the rainfall average flow report. We have 3 different reports from the Southside wastewater treatment plant, and the way I've understood over the years that there's a correlation between large rain events or that we have here and flow rates that happen that are reported. It appears that there seems to be a difference between page 125 and the graph that's on 120. And that may be just my not understanding the material, but if there's someone here, Carl or Ken, if you could help explain that, and maybe I've gone down a rabbit hole that there, but it doesn't seem to jive with what my understanding is of that kind of report. Carl, can you help me?
I can try. What you see on page 125,
Yes.
the red line is the monthly flow, which is about 7.8 or just below 8 million gallons per day on the left axis.
Right.
And then on page 120,
Yes.
the green line corresponds to that, being the average for the month. So both show the average of the month. And then the red line on page 120 is the highest flow recorded during the month.
I guess I made the correlation between that on the page 120, the 10.43 million gallons a day
That is the
being
peak.
related to a high rain event.
It is, but it is the peak day, and what you see on all the other graphs, it reflects the average day. But we want to stress the
Got
peak
it.
day because those things
Yeah.
are important with respect to flows to the plant, but also we track that to show the impact and benefits of our rehab and replacement program.
That is exactly what led me to trying to make that comparison, Carl, so thank you. You did your job too well. It's essentially, if I hear you right, on the page 125, we're just using the averages as opposed to the peak on 120.
Correct.
Makes much more sense to me.
Carl, the rainwater intrusion into our lines was cured greatly.
Yeah.
Some years back. In fact, that was one of the factors that led to the fact that we didn't have to, we could move the Southside
Right.
treatment plant out to out years.
Correct, and we track that infiltration on a certainly on a monthly basis, but it's generally we do calculate it all on an annual basis. And what we have seen over the years with all the rehab and replacement that we have put in the CIP that this board has approved is that the response to flow following big rainstorms is getting less and less over time, which has helped move the Southside project out as far as we could. But where we are now is that looking 5 years ahead, We were doing our projections 5 years ahead. We know we need to upgrade that Southside plant because of the growth that occurs in the system. So we've leveraged that to the extent possible.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
And Madam Chair, the number 4, the strategic plan update, and I have a feeling we may be hearing this later on. I didn't see it in my full packet. I know we had October 11th as a deadline for the RFP for the DEI consultant. I was hoping we'd get an update on that somewhere along the line, because today's the 12th, I think. Not that I'm counting days these days, but yeah.
I've confirmed that we received one response to that RFP.
One.
And we'll evaluate that and report back.
Great. Okay. Thanks very much. That's all I had. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to committee reports. The executive committee met last week on Wednesday, October 5th. The minutes are in the packet if anyone has any questions on those. Long range planning committee.
We did not meet and have no report.
Okay, thank you. Finance committee.
Yes, Finance met October the 5th, and I believe those minutes are in your packets. And I will defer to John McClain, our CFO, for monthly financial report.
Morning, everyone. So this is our look at 2 months through the year. You can see that our total change in fund balance through the first 2 months, our expenditures have exceeded revenues by approximately $11.2 million. That brings our unassigned fund balance down to $47.9 million. In that unassigned fund balance includes the surplus, the operating surplus from last year, from fiscal year 2022. We have completed the audit. Clean opinion on the audit that's been submitted to LGC, and next month we'll be presenting that audit. The auditors will be coming. That's a requirement by LGC that they come and present to the board. And at that meeting, we will be presenting that surplus number. It's approximately $4.8 million or so, and we'll be making a recommendation on how to use those surplus funds. Again, policy allows for it to be used to either pay off debt early, to put it in a capital reserve to avoid the issuance of future debt. Both are aimed at saving ratepayers on interest. And then the final allowable use is to supplement the OPEB fund. We've had some conversations about the monies that were transferred from the city and the county at inception. And that was based on an actuarial study that was done back in 2008. I guess reality really hasn't mirrored what was reflected in that actuarial report. We have about $1.4 million left in that fund. And what that means is once that $1.4 million is exhausted, we'll have to bake those benefits that we're obligated to provide to the former city and county employees into our rates. So that's kind of the story there. But those are those three allowable uses. Are there any questions on any of that?
John, could you tell me those grants, about $500,000 in grants?
Sure. Let's see. This is, I believe this is the final little piece of those 3 grants that we got we were approved for back in 2017. There's 3 different projects. Carl, what were those projects? Let's see. There was one. There was a pump station rehab one. There was a replacement of several older, I think, Cantech pump stations, and then there was a gravity. Wasn't there a gravity sewer component as well?
The gravity sewer under major roads, there was about a $10 million project, and I believe it was Pump Station 10.
Pump Station 10. Sorry to put you on the spot. I think Pump Station 10 and the gravity projects are completed. I think this is the final piece of that Cantech pump station replacement project that's finishing up. So
So we'll spend it.
Right, yeah, and actually, you know, how these, we recognize the grants on a reimbursement basis, so as we make the eligible expenditures under those grants, we're recognizing that revenue. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we've received it yet.
Thank
Mm-hmm.
With another 75 basis point increase to the debt market, are we kind of shift our strategy from utilizing debt to kind of rather utilizing capital, like when all this the excess funds shake out? Does that kind of go into this discussion here that we're going to have?
That's exactly right. So I think what you're seeing now, right, with interest rates going up. So there was those first two uses that I mentioned, right? You know, we can pay off our existing debt, or we can park it in a capital reserve to avoid issuing debt in the future. With interest rates going up, we'll probably choose the latter instead of the former.
All the rates.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and those rates are relatively lower than what the market currently is at. And I mean, probably looking to go to market within the next couple of years. I think we're probably in a higher rate environment for, you know, certainly the short to midterm. So my recommendation likely next month, and we'll have to talk about it internally, will be to put it in a capital reserve for the South Side project. And just to look at revenues, that's a really good segue right here. What you're seeing, this looks a little unusual, right? Our investment earnings. And we've talked about this before. So that's not only cash payments for interest and you know, coupon payments, those types of things. We also are required to recognize unrealized gains and losses. So the market value fluctuations of those investments. And what you're seeing is, as interest rates have rapidly risen, that means that our relatively lower yielding investments are worth less. Now, these unrealized losses will never be realized, right? Because as we approach maturity, that unrealized loss goes away, and we always hold till maturity on all of these. So it's just a kind of a temporary timing thing. As far as water and wastewater revenues, so those are our fixed and volumetric charges. I think they're right on track. I mean, you can kind of compare these percentages to this 25% through the year. Again, this is through September. The previous presentation or chart was as of August 31st. But yeah, I mean, so we're a little bit above that 25% mark, but I think that makes sense. You know, the first couple of months of the fiscal year are summer months, and those are higher consuming months. So our revenues aren't spread out 1/12, 1/12, 1/12, 1/12, right? It fluctuates with seasonality, and you know, obviously customers consume more during those summer months. So I think revenues are right on track with where we budgeted them 3 months through the year. So we'll continue to take a look at that. I did want to point out, and I think this was in the strategic plan update as well. This is just kind of a new chart that's in here talking about the use of the innovation funds. Again, we budgeted $1 million to drive forward our strategic plan. So of that $1 million, we've allocated about 29%. So there's about 71% that remains unallocated. And of that 29% that we've allocated, this is a breakdown of the initiative that it relates to. So you can kind of see that there. Are there any questions on this new chart here? It's a nice little snapshot.
GHG reduction.
That's greenhouse gas emissions reduction. Mm-hmm.
John, picking up on a comment that Luke made just a minute ago, have you given any thought about shifting some of our investments into higher interest rates? I mean, there's been a dramatic change in that, and what are your thoughts on that?
So our program, what we do is we project our daily cash flows out over 2 years, actually. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to project when we're going to need cash inflows, and then also when we have excess cash. And when we have the excess cash, we're able to invest that cash, and then we want to time the maturities to sync up with those cash flow needs. So it's all a kind of a program that generates this buy list, and we know how much, when we need them to mature, and based on our investment policy, whether to do commercial paper or do treasuries or agencies or things like that. So I guess short answer is we will continue to buy and stick to that program and that methodology. And what you'll see is it'll eventually catch up. My guess is, right, there's going to come some point when interest rates, kind of peak out, right? And as we continue to buy, our portfolio yield will approach what the market is, right?
I guess what caught my eyes, and we have, some instruments that are, earning less than 1% or in the 1 to 1.3, 1.4. And I know there's some, investments out there now that are up to almost 3%. And, and when you're talking about $100, that doesn't mean much, but you're talking about investments of $1 million, all of a sudden that starts making some
right.
money.
And kind of the economics behind that is what we would essentially have to do if we wanted to transition our portfolio to higher yielding investments. We'd have to sell those investments and actually realize those losses just to buy up. So it would zero out. It would basically net out.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else, Bill?
We did have a copy. We went over the strategic plan initiative, just an update on that, and that's for informational purposes. That was in your packet, and that's it.
Thank you. Sustainability Committee, Dr. Cannon?
We have no report. We did not meet.
Human Resource Committee?
Human Resources met. We did not have a quorum, so everything was informational. But however, we did go over some items. Ms. McCoy reported that the employee benefits and negotiated in 2021 for 2 to 3 year periods, and the premium coverage remained at the 2021 amounts. Also, Ms. McCoy and Mr. Waldrop presented a request for RFP for CFPUA's DE&I consultant. The RFP was published in September 19th. The deadline is October 11th. Also, Mr. Waldrop and Ms. McCoy reviewed a recommendation revisions for CFPUA's drug and alcohol policy. The current policy is a zero tolerance with any employee who tests positive for illegal substances for alcohol use on the job will be terminated. So the staff recommended providing a one-time rehabilitation program for employees. The program will be managed by a counselor. So the employees would need to receive a negative drug test prior to release from the program. And this program is, should the employee test positive, the employee would be then terminated. The program is similar to those rehabilitation programs used for CDLs. So we modeled it after that. So anything else is in the packet.
Any questions for HR? Go ahead.
Are those drug tests random?
They will be. They will be.
How is it now?
I'm not exactly sure, but
It's a randomized program.
Okay, just the luck of the draw coming up.
But Ms. McCoy, would you like to come up and give some specifics about the last chance program in terms of drug testing?
So we currently offer or require a couple of different types of drug screening. We complete a pre-employment drug screen. We also complete random drug screens quarterly, and then we also do post-accident drug screens. So the recommendation to change the drug policy is specific to random drug screens as well as post-accident drug screens. And so what would happen is if we have an employee that is in good standing and they test positive as the result of a random drug screen or a post-accident, they may be allowed to enter into what we would call a last chance agreement. As Mr. Briggs noted, it's modeled after the current rehabilitation program that's through the North Carolina CDL program, if you're familiar with that. So they would be required to agree and sign off on a last chance agreement that would require them to go to a substance abuse provider. That substance abuse provider would work with that employee to determine what rehabilitation is required. The employee would need to comply with all of that rehabilitation, complete another drug screen, and be negative. They would be able to come back to work with also an additional drug screening, random drug screening, in addition to the quarterly, for a period of up to 2 years for monitoring. So they would go through that entire process, and then they could potentially be returned to work. And they may be able to work during rehab or may not. It would depend on the substance abuse provider. But that provider would walk with that employee all the way through until they could return to work. If at any point beyond that, that same employee were to test positive for a drug screen at any point during their employment cycle with us after that, then at that point they would be terminated, employment would be terminated. So it's a one opportunity to provide employees an opportunity for rehabilitation.
If you self-disclose, does that count as a one-time?
So self-disclosure is a little different.
Okay.
And we have that now.
Okay.
If someone self-disclosed. So this is someone that does not self-disclose and comes back positive. Correct.
I chaired the Civil Service Commission of the city for about 8 years, and the chief of police at the time came to us and said, I'm losing out on some very good recruits because when they were 18 or 19 or 20, they got arrested for simple marijuana use. So we watered down our policy enough to where that wouldn't preclude someone from applying for employment. Do we have that same restriction when they come to apply for a job the first time?
It's a good question. So we currently have criteria for background screening, which I think is what you're referring to. So when someone applies for a position for us and we run a criminal background check, we do have a criteria for that. So someone that may have a conviction on their background, it depends on the level of conviction and the time since conviction, as well as what their record has been like since that conviction. So they may still be able to be hired. So that situation, right, you've got someone that young and but they've had a clean history, very likely could still work through. But we do have a criteria in place that we follow that considers those three different things.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Do we randomly screen all of our employees, or is it just certain?
Safety
criteria?
sensitive is the ones that are in random, is in our random pool, yes. So it's mostly those employees that are driving or operating heavy equipment.
And if they opt to go to rehab, who pays for that, or the counseling?
So the substance abuse provider is a flat fee, and we have agreed as CFPUA to provide that, to pay for that fee. But the rehabilitation, the employee pays for with their health insurance. So anything that co-pays or deductibles, they would be responsible for with their health insurance.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that there's a time gap between since a person was convicted of a drug charge or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What is the time?
So it depends on the offense. So if it's a misdemeanor, so something like a simple marijuana possession, that's usually 1 to 2 years. If it's a heavier weighted, something like a felony conviction, we might be looking as much as 5 years. It depends on the level of conviction. And also the other piece to that is looking at the length of time that they've had a clean record. So you might have someone, so for example, that may have gone through a time in their life, right? That they may have had multiple things going on in a 3 or 4 year period, but then maybe they've not had anything for 5 years. So you have to kind of consider those things. So our criteria kind of gives us multiple avenues to kind of consider that based off on individuals. Did you have a question?
So back to the original policy change, the employee would be suspended after failing a drug test.
Correct.
Until they go through either complete the process or recommended by the counselor to return to work.
That's correct. Okay. That's correct. And as soon as an employee, if it's a post-accident, then when the employee goes for the drug screen, they do not drive a vehicle until we receive the results back. So if it's post-accident, we immediately pull them from driving anyway. And then if they test positive, then they are placed on an administrative leave.
I'd like to make a clarifying comment. We're piloting this policy. Final approval of this policy would be part of the process where we bring it back to the HR committee, who then recommends some action to the full board, as we do for all of our HR policies.
One last question. So obviously, the treatment of marijuana in our culture is changing pretty quickly, and that's part of what's driving this, I assume. Do we have a best practices bar within the industry that we can make sure that we're benchmarking our decisions with?
Yes. So to answer your question, yes. So a couple of things that we do is we look at not only local government, state government, and kind of what others are doing similar to us, which is part of how we modeled this change, a recommended change in the drug policy. But we also watch, like specifically, we are watching all the legislature regarding marijuana usage. And so we will adjust then our policies around that as we can accordingly. But so we're constantly weighing how to best assist our employees in being successful, but also managing and making sure as an organization that we are responsible for safety as well. So it's kind of, we're always kind of watching both of those.
Well, you know, who, somebody else going?
Rob, go ahead, Rob, and then you go.
Thank you.
He's been.
Can you explain how the self-disclosure works? How does it work? I'm not sure I understand what that means.
So if an employee were to come forward of their own outside of a drug screen and say, I have an issue, I have a problem, whether that's drugs or alcohol, I need some assistance, then we step in at that point and we provide assistance to that employee. We may do that through our employee assistance program. We might do that through our substance abuse provider that we've contracted with. It just depends on what that employee needs. And then if that employee needs to go out, there are a leave available, such as family medical leave. It might apply under our Americans with Disabilities Act. So there are a number of avenues then to help support that employee. But that's what's different about an employee comes forward versus we catch it on a drug screen. That's the difference.
If they're in an accident and they come forward and say, yes, I was under the influence of alcohol, is that considered self-disclosure?
It is not. At that point, it would be considered a positive drug screen, and we would move forward on that other avenue of potential last chance agreement.
Thank you.
There was a couple of instances with either a police or a fireman, I forget which, where the number came up. He was notified he was supposed to go to our testing facility. And at that point, before he went into the testing facility, he disclosed. And that fell under the heading of self-disclosure. Had he gone through with the test and came back positive, that would have been a different story. Getting back to what your comments were just now about the flavor of it's changing in our country. And marijuana will most likely be, if we follow suit with everybody else, be legalized. But alcohol is also legalized. And I don't want somebody reading the gauge that's looking at something that's terribly important to be stoned or drinking. So those things have to be baked into the policy.
Absolutely.
Because it's legal.
Yep, that's right.
Doesn't mean it's allowed to be used. Okay, I
And
know
one
that's
of
kind
the-
of obvious, but.
Yeah, one of the problems is just the state of technology. You can't tell if someone's smoking pot on the job or if they did it 10 days ago.
That's right.
While on vacation. So that's the trouble. Obviously, we don't want anyone stoned at work. That's very dangerous. So.
Well, I made this comment in the committee, but the problem with it is, of all the things you can do, marijuana is the most dangerous in what we do in construction.
Absolutely.
Because of the number one reason that my guys or anybody that does this business gets hurt or killed is lack of awareness. And that's the unfortunate part about it is it's like this is a slippery slope. You got to draw that line to your point. Like, I mean, if somebody's out there and they don't know where they are or they're not, aware, they're going to get killed. And that's I deal with this. This is a lifestyle issue for me because people are, it's out there and there's pins and there's all these access to it, but it is so dangerous in what we do. And so that, I mean, it's a challenge, but yeah, I just note that because it is I mean, people consider it recreational. Laws are going to change, but like you don't show up to work like that, and we got to draw the line real hard on this, or those safety reports and those numbers are going to look really bad if we don't make that clear.
Go ahead, Mr. Wolf.
So having noted the complexity of the topic, we are piloting it, and we will bring back a consensus recommendation for staff for HR committee to consider. And then the board will have an opportunity to weigh in on the appropriateness of the recommendation or whether we need to modify that. And do we have a time frame where we're hoping to bring this and other policies back?
Mr. Briggs and I are hoping we're going to come on catch him after the board meeting. We're going to talk about that.
We don't have a timeline on the pilot.
Next month or 60 days, somewhere in there, before the end of the year.
All that being said, I think it's very good that we're giving folks a second chance. For sure.
All right, thank you very much. Anything else, Mr. Briggs?
Yes, also, Ms. McCoy reported that the leadership training and development program is well underway. The first two cohorts include 23 employees who have completed their 360 assessment and are working with their coaches. The third cohort will begin its training the week of October 3rd, which is just past, and Ms. McCoy reported that the program has been well received. The program will include 80 employees total.
All right, thank you. Your committee's been busy. All right.
Actually,
Go
I
ahead.
have a question.
Yes.
Hollis, in the program, is it a self-select, or is the supervisor the one who selects the people who get into the cohort, into the program?
Ms. McCoy?
I'm sorry.
About track shoes.
Is it cohort, like, he's my cohort? Is that-
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I was
Your
hearing
class is
wrong.
called your cohort.
So how we made this decision is that we decided to start with our current leadership. So as an organization, CFPUA, partly because we're so young, we haven't necessarily embarked on something quite this formal before. So we believed it was important to start with our current leaders. So those 80 employees are pretty much from our executive director all the way to our foreman. So basically any position that is going to supervise others were identified in this first 80. And so we placed them in cohort groups. And so they're kind of cross-functional cohorts that will stay together over a period of about 12 months. And they'll complete a number of training and education, exercises, 360 assessments. So not only will they be learning together, but hopefully building relationships across different departments that will just help them then continue to work better together even once they get beyond this program.
Is there part of the plan to expand that in the future?
Yes.
I guess what I'm getting to, if I'm somebody who's been working for CFPUA for 8 years, or maybe longer if I worked with the city or the county before and we did that, and I feel like I've been passed over for promotion, or I have more skills but just haven't had the opportunity to do this, how do I get into that program?
Absolutely, great question. So that will be kind of step 2. So we've got a couple of things on our list to go through. So again, just keep in mind this is a 3 to 5 year right, initiative that we're going down. So this is kind of where we're starting. So the next step will be working with not only creating a leadership orientation, so anyone that's promoted from within, we'll make sure they're getting that same education and opportunity. So we're all speaking kind of the same language, if you will. And then right behind that will be more formal succession planning, an extension of our education tuition assistance programs, which will very much help that group of employees that you're talking about that are looking to grow and be that next place. So we're expanding those programs. We'd like to be able to offer some scholarships to some employees that maybe need to go back to school and need more formal education, but again, that cost is just outside of their range. So a number of those programs we have kind of lined up on our radar to start tackling over the next 3 to 5 years.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm moving on to Communications Committee.
Yeah.
Any update for Communications?
Yes, I'm doing
Oh,
communications
okay.
as well. And the communication committee met on September 29th, and the minutes are in your packet. We heard a proposal from the staff to engage a firm to conduct a customer satisfaction survey. And this one is initiative of our new strategic plan. The committee members decided to hold off on hiring a firm so we could have more of a discussion and types of questions that would be included in the survey. That's what I have.
Thank you. All right, new item on the agenda is the consolidation study report. Is anyone, are we presenting on that or? Okay, go ahead.
Let's see. October 5th, we held the kickoff meeting for the consolidation study attended by CFPUA staff, Mr. Sneeden, myself. The Wrightsville Beach counterparts were Mayor Darrell Mills, Alderman Ken Dull, the city manager, the utility director, and the finance director were all there. The meeting was chaired by our consultant staff, who many members that work over the various disciplines. They're well versed in consolidation. From Winston-Salem, Cary, Pittsboro, Forsyth County. So they're all over the disciplines are pretty well versed in consolidation. We went through the packet, the senior packet, it's easy 6-page read, but basically went through the various tasks associated with getting to a final feasibility report. There's going to be a lot of meetings, a lot of information, a lot of asks on staff on both sides, and they're hoping to come up with a feasibility report based on the timeline starting from now to the end of April. So we'll be keeping the board updated. The takeaway, other than the amount of work that's got to be done, was that we kicked off the meeting just discussing what our thoughts were about consolidation. And I guess my takeaway and Larry's takeaway was that everybody's on board, everybody's pretty much on the same page, hoping that once we get this thing done, at the same time, get something done that's fair and reasonable for the ratepayers on both sides of the bridge. So that was a pleasant part of the meeting. I think that's going to help smooth the waters because there's a lot of work to be done between now and then. So it's all, the meeting summary is pretty good. So
well, talking about fair, the rates are, I guess, number one on that list. Everybody would be treated on equal footing.
Right, but it's fair and reasonable too. So there's a lot of information to be gathered as far as the existing information that the studies that have been done, updating the budgets of CIP projects that are in the works, and then all that will be consolidated into rate studies or models. The attorneys, I believe, are already working on some draft models for different types of consolidation, different ways of consolidating. Can help me, Brian?
Yeah.
And then and those different types of consolidation will be baked into rate studies and models, 2 or 3 options that will be brought to the board. So I think everybody knows the situation, I think, but everybody's willing to, nobody came in with closed minds. Everybody understands that there's a lot of work to be done, and everybody's open to whatever information comes out of this study.
Thank
Hey, Deans, I know and maybe part of this has already happened. Who's paying for the inventory of existing infrastructure? So I know that's at the core of a lot of your discussions. What are we buying into?
I'll defer.
Yeah.
You received a grant in conjunction with Wrightsville Beach of $400,000 to support the consolidation study, as well as a separate rate study that is being conducted by the same consultant.
So the consultant does the inventory, or does Wrightsville Beach?
The consultant and both parties together go through an inventory together. In your packet with the handout, you can see the presentation lays out a timeline. There's going to be a series of virtual and in-person meetings. There'll be a tour of facilities at Wrightsville Beach. And there's a long list of information requested of Wrightsville Beach that the consultant then will verify, and then we'll be looking over their shoulder also.
So he will, Carl or some of his team will be there so we can take a look at, you know, what the pipes look like, yeah, and the valves, right?
Yes.
Good.
But the rates keep coming up to the top. I mean, we're not gonna have a tiered system of rates.
I don't want to prejudge the recommendations that may come up. There'll be options. And your board representatives will be informing you on a regular basis of what those options look like. It's really too early to tell,
I understand.
based on everything, how it
But
might
at the
fall
end
out.
of the day, we're not gonna have a rate for Wrightsville Beach customers and a rate for us.
It's possible.
It's possible.
I don't think our general
maybe
statute
not.
allows that.
But
No,
maybe
no.
not long-term. I mean, because there may be some catch-up.
It would deal with debt service that
Yes.
is associated with that system to bring it up to speed.
There is a model allowed under general statute that has been used in other Piedmont consolidations that is called a rate differential model that temporarily, not permanently, allows a difference of rate solely for the purpose of paying off debt related to the consolidation. That's one model that we'll look at.
Is it likely that their rates would be higher or lower than our customers? Higher, not lower. Because from the public perception of what we're doing here, obviously, you all are acting as our ombudsman to protect our
Well,
interests of our
that's where when we say fair and equitable,
Right.
I mean, the deal has to be fair and equitable to our ratepayers too.
Exactly. Well, that's
as far as the burden of debt, but we don't know what we've got unless I said
need to inventory all.
there are studies out there, and help me, there are studies out there, and those studies are being tweaked, and the CIP programs are being updated so that we know better than what we're getting into. It's like I said before, you know, we're doing this thing. I don't want to be, like I told Carl, I don't want to be 10 years from now say that, you know, we took this thing over, kind of like our the benefits package, and miss it by 50%.
Got it.
So that's why,
Making sure
like I
we're not-
said, there's going to be a lot of work, a lot of asks for Wrightsville Beach as far as information. You're talking easements, you know, rolling stock, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of information to be gone through. And I appreciate Ms. Adams letting me volunteer for this program.
We appreciate it.
We actually do. We appreciate
Very
it
grateful for you.
Very, very much.
Larry and I had the deer in the headlights look at the
Oh,
meeting.
man.
That's why I called you on the phone.
But I think, everybody on both sides is eager to get it done. And like Ken said, it's too early right now, but it's a good team, and nobody's coming in with preconceived notions about what they will or won't do. State that correctly?
Well, we got two good people on it. I know that. Larry, you still want to tie it to their parking rates, don't you?
He was asking about boat slips, which is on the
All right.
But I think it's too that we asked the consultant to use our CFPUA as criteria for our 10-year CIP. So the projects that are evaluated, we would like work that may have to be done at Wrightsville Beach to be evaluated using the same criteria, so that we would know how, number one, that the finished product would be up to the standards that we expect of everything else, and that we would be able to evaluate that work based on everything else that we're doing, so that we're not trying to compare apples to oranges, or getting something that is difficult to evaluate how it gets into our system. So, and I think everybody was on board at that meeting to move in the same direction. So I was very positive about that. Good.
All right. Thank you all. Okay, moving on. Old business. Any old business before the board? Okay. Any last Q&A, closing comments? If not, we need to go into closed session for
Yeah, a personnel matter.
a personnel matter and
To discuss claims, possible claims that we may have with Comores.
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll take 5 minutes.